Hey, what's going on guys? Just before we dive into the video, I want to let you know that we have an awesome Iceborne giveaway running right now with the guys over at Gamerchic for everything you see on screen. A PS4 Pro, a year of PlayStation Plus, the Steelbook copy of Iceborne, and even the 2 Monster Hunter Nendoroid figures. If you want to enter, click the link in the description box down below. And if you want to save some money on your Monster Hunter pre-order, you can grab it at Gamerchic, use code Arekkz Gaming, and it will give you a discount, making it the cheapest place to buy it that we've seen in the UK. Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and today I want to talk about an end game topic. This is something you do once you complete the campaign, you defeated the final boss, so with that in mind, if you guys do not want to hear about this, you do not want to see this, this is your spoiler warning. This is your opportunity to step away, to come back and watch this video another day. But assuming you guys are still here, then we're going to talk about the Guiding Lands. The Guiding Lands is a new area in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Of course, the main new area was Hoarfrost Reach, but once you get to the end of the campaign, you get to investigate another new area called the Guiding Lands. This is a complex ecosystem, and it consists of multiple regions that affect one another. Essentially, take all of the maps you have, bar the snowy one, so Ancient Forest, Wildspire Waste, Coral Highlands, and the Rotten Vale, mash them all together to create one big map that allows you to walk between the different regions. Now, it's not exactly the maps that you see. They haven't just taken the Ancient Forest and squashed it together, but those are the themes. You have a foresty area linked to a sandy area, linked to a Rotten Vale style area, linked to a Coral Highlands area. You walk around this map and it's like one big expedition. While you're here, there are monsters here, you can kill them, and much like on any expedition, monsters come and go. Now, of course, if you are fighting them, then they typically hang around longer, especially if they're weaker, but generally speaking, it functions like a large expedition. However, it is worth noting that, in typical expedition manner, you don't have a time limit, you don't have a cart limit, but carting does mean you do get fewer rewards, so you still want to try and be efficient out here. You don't just want to sort of die left, right, and centre because you're going to massively impede your rewards. But this is basically like, it's funny, I kind of see this almost like a big arcade mode. You know what, like one of those things where you play through games and then they give you that big boss rush mode where you just fight boss after boss after boss. A little bit different, but that's kind of the vibe I get from here. The Guiding Lands is genuinely an area you can just sit in, hunting for ages. You could just sit in the same Guiding Lands for the entire day, hunting monsters back to back. It's a lot of fun. But there is a bigger purpose to this. It's not just a big playground for you to go in and hunt monsters. This is your endgame loop. See, the Guiding Lands is also a location that yields endgame materials. These are materials you do not get anywhere else in the game, and the materials you're going to be using to augment and upgrade your gear and your weapons. Now, I will be doing a video following this one today, talking about the new endgame augment system, so if you want to know more about that, then stick around, that'll be on the channel later on today. But largely speaking, this is where you go to get materials. If you're hunting monsters here, they will also drop materials that are unique, again, to the Guiding Lands. So let's just say, for example, you have made a Nagakuga longsword, and you want to upgrade it. In order to fully augment it and fully kind of take that to the end game, you'll actually need to hunt Nagas in the Guiding Lands to get the end game Naga material that you can then use to push that to the next limit. So that's kind of the purpose for it. Guiding Lands is a source of not only challenging tasks, means to fight monsters, but also important materials. But how does it all work? Well, first things first, as mentioned, the Guiding Lands is broken down into 4 main biomes, if you will, and each of these has a level. As you hunt monsters within these areas, that area levels up. So you can see that, say, like the Ancient Forest or the Wildspire Waste will go level 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is worth noting that the tooltip for this says that area levels can go up and down. So as you, say, spend a lot of time trying to increase the level of, say, the Wildspire Waste, the other ones can drop down. So it's kind of like a little balancing act. But basically, hunting monsters and finding resources in areas can be used to level those up. And as an area gets higher level, it also means tougher and more challenging monsters can show up. So, your first Guiding Lands experience will be things like Jagras and Gyros and, Baroth and stuff like that. But then later on, you start getting things like Nagas and Wraths, and then you start getting things like Zenogas and Yangarugas, and I imagine later on, maybe even Elder Dragons. It does also mention that at some point you can start getting tempered monsters here, and that's also going to be quite important because we've known from the past that tempered monsters can drop some of those endgame materials, and that's also going to link into what we need to do in the Guiding Lands. So again, factoring in the areas, you level them up, you get more challenging monsters, you hunt those monsters, and you get those parts. But there is another component as well. As you're exploring around, there are 3 main things you can investigate. The first of which is signs of a turf war. These large areas on the ground that are as it kind of suggests, signs of a turf war. But when you investigate them, what happens is you get, in the top right corner of the screen, an investigation that you then need to go through and level up. As you then go and hunt monsters, as you go and break parts of monsters, as you go and capture them, the yellow arrows will increase. And then when you get to the point that this is maxed out, you will then be able to go and visit the handler at the camp, and that will basically have unlocked your ability to lure out a monster. So let's just say, for example, it says you're looking for, say, like a fanged beast or a flying wyvern. You complete that, you then go back, and as you can see in my situation, I have the ability to lure out 1 Zenogre or 2 Nightshade Paolumu. These are finite resources, so kind of see it like a standalone investigation. Once you've lured out the monster, you would of course have to then go and find another one of these before you can call it out again. But this allows you to call specific monsters into the area, so if you are trying to farm something and you do want some parts, so if I want some Zenogre parts, I can call it in and I can then hunt that. Now, once you've used those up, of course, in order to get more of these, again, you can either look for those signs of a turf war, sometimes you can hunt monsters, and in the process of hunting or capturing them or carving them, you will then get new investigations that pop up. It's also worth noting that breaking parts of monsters, especially if it's, say, the same type of monster that you're trying to complete an investigation for, is a great way to advance the meter. Additionally, whilst you're exploring around, you'll also find custom bone piles and mining outcrops. These are a little bit different to, say, your conventional ones because they also link in with the level of the area. You can actually see, if you look on the map, there's a progress bar for the bones and the mining kind of areas that you've gathered from, so that's also something to work towards. But these two yield area-specific items. So if you're looking for, say, like an ore from the Guiding Lands in the sort of desert region, these are the places that you're going to be getting them from. So that's kind of like your core loop. You're going to load into the Guiding Lands, you're going to go and hunt a variety of monsters, you're going to investigate things like signs of a turf war, or just kill and carve monsters to get investigations that you can then progress by hunting more monsters, breaking parts on those monsters, and then of course once you've done that, you can then lure out specific monsters that you can then farm in order to get endgame materials that you can use to upgrade your gear, your weapons, and you can then repeat the process. Again, it's important to make sure that you are trying to sort of balance the areas because you want to level these areas up because, of course, the higher the level, the more challenging monsters will show up, which again is going to ultimately lead into the stuff that you want to do endgame. So that, broadly speaking, is the Guiding Lands. It's also something you can do multiplayer. You can go into a hub online with people, you can create a Guiding Lands experience, and then people can go and search for Guiding Lands, just the same as if you put up a quest, and then you can jump in, hunt with other people. It is worth noting that if someone leaves, you just kind of remain in the Guiding Lands as like your own individual experience, but it is something that you can do solo or as a group, and it's actually a lot of fun. Like, I've kind of spent quite a few hours just sort of sitting in the Guiding Lands, hunting things back to back. Every time you think you're about to finish, you're just like, oh wait, another monster's shown up. I kind of need to hunt that, so I'm going to hunt it anyway. So you then go and do that, repeat the process, and it's actually quite good for leveling up as well. If you've kind of sat there for a good hour or so, hunted quite a few monsters back to back, and you then finish, you get quite a few master rank points for this. So that, my friends, is a quick rundown on what you can expect from the Guiding Lands, the new endgame experience for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. If you guys have any questions, by all means let me know in the comments down below, but otherwise be sure to keep it locked for plenty more Iceborne coverage. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.